Back to your Daily Dose. My name is Robert here with Susan, and we teased enough in the last episode what we want to do now, which is show a clip from Dead Poets Society that hits on several levels, and there is a lot of discovery. It's in YouTube parlance. Those of you watching, you may know this as a reaction video. We're going to show that video right now, and then we're going to react to it, and we look forward to your reactions in the comments. So let's go ahead and show it right here. This is a scene from Dead Poet Society featuring Robin Williams and Ethan Hawke.
I see a sweetness in her smile. Bright light shines from her eyes. But life is complete, contentment is mine. Just knowing that she's alive. Sorry, Captain. It's stupid.
No, it's not stupid. It's a good effort. Touched on one of the major themes, love. Major theme not only in poetry, but life. Mr. Hopkins, you were laughing. You're up.
The cat sat on the mat.
Congratulations, Mr. Hopkins. You have the first poem to ever have a negative score on the Pritchard scale. We're not laughing at you, we're laughing near you. I don't mind that your poem had a simple theme. Sometimes the most beautiful poetry can be about simple things, like a cat, or a flower, or rain. You see, poetry can come from anything with the stuff of revelation in it. Just don't let your poems be ordinary. Now, who's next? Mr. Anderson. So you're sitting there in agony. Come on, Todd, step up. Let's put you out of your misery.
I didn't do it. I didn't write a poem.
Mr. Anderson thinks that everything inside of him is worthless and embarrassing. Isn't that right, Todd? And that's your worst fear. I think you're wrong. I think you have something inside of you that is worth a great deal. I sound my barbaric yelp. The rooftops of the world. W, Uncle Walt again. Now, for those of you who don't know, a yelp is a loud cry or yell. Now, Todd, I would like you to give us a demonstration of a barbaric yelp. Come on, you can't yelp sitting down. Let's go. Come on, up. Gotta get in yelping stance.
A yawp.
No, not just a yelp. A barbaric yelp.
Yawp.
Come on, louder.
Yawp.
Oh, that's a mouse. Come on, louder.
Yawp.
Oh, good God, boy, yell like that. There it is. You see? You have a barbarian in you after all. Now, you don't get away that easy. Picture of Uncle Walt up there. What does he remind you of? Don't think. Answer. Go on.
A madman.
What kind of madman? Don't think about it. Just answer again.
A crazy madman.
Oh, you can do better than that. Free up your mind. Use your imagination. Say the first thing that pops into your head, even if it's total gibberish. Go on. Go on.
A sweaty-toothed madman.
Good God, boy. There's a poet in you after all. There. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close them. Now, describe what you see.
I close my eyes.
Yes?
And this image floats beside me.
The sweaty-toothed madman.
The sweaty-toothed madman with a stare that pounds my brain.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, give him action. Make him do something.
His hands reach out and choke me.
That's good. Wonderful, wonderful.
And all the time he's mumbling.
What's he mumbling?
Mumbling truth.
Yeah.
Truth like a blanket that always leaves your feet cold.
Forget them, forget them. Stay with the blanket. Tell me about that blanket.
You push it, stretch it, it'll never be enough. You kick at it, beat it, it'll never cover any of us. From the moment we enter crying to the moment we leave dying, it'll just cover your face as you wail and cry and scream.
Don't you forget this.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm in tears. I will say that major theme uncovered there and put forth is one of my major life themes, and that's worthlessness. And he just hit it squarely, said it to Ethan, Todd, it's your worst fear, isn't it? Well, I think you're wrong. Oh,
And when I watch that all the way through, there must be a dozen times in there when I feel you. I the sense of how you teach. I mean, this is a Zoom class, so you can't hang on to your student and spin us around in circles and yelling at our face and hang on to us. But what he did, which you just said showed you, or was he was showing that young man his sense of worth, and I was seeing your worth as my teacher. Forget being the student. What that teacher did came from such a beautiful, deep place that we get from you all the time. It's just sort of second nature because you're just right there with the 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 tone that you want, or the volume that you want, or the attitude that you want, whether it's louder or bigger, or a madman wasn't enough, right? If it had been you, you would have done the same thing, like pushing, getting us to push that idea. And that translates into our writing. It happens in our improv classes, and it happens in our actual writing, where your standards for what you think will bring out the best in us is, to me, it's bringing out the best in you as a teacher to take us there.
yeah, I've told you that some of my happiest times, period, are in our classes, whether it's the Jam for Joy or the cinema therapy classes, because it allows me to be that. And I just want to say, first of all, Robin Williams is just one of my favorite people in history. Never got to meet him, sadly. Got near him at one point doing some work with Comic Relief, but never actually got, any closer than that. And yet, what he left us, his legacy, is so broad and vast and colorful and beautiful. And you're right, when you pointed this out, I saw this in the scene when I went to show it to you all, and then you validated, you and Karen, so quickly. And the thing is, I saw the film when it came out in 1989 as 19 years old, and I wasn't thinking about being a teacher, and I wasn't, but the effect and the impact of him, I was much more Ethan Hawke than I was Robin Williams at that point, right? And the idea of being unlocked and the power of being validated and being lifted up, and there, all of that is there. And one thing I really want to point out that I love about this movie, and I don't think it gets enough credit, because I read some critical reviews, and there were people kind of taking the path of it. I mean, it's generally still beloved, but there are people who I guess, they poo-poo certain elements of it, saying it's rote or been done better, etc. But it doesn't get enough credit for it. You look at that class, the way the first, the first student came up and failed, quote unquote, with his love poem, and he got validated by Robin. The second poem came up and really shat upon the exercise, right? Gave a little thumbs up in the class. That's mirrored at the end of the movie too, when half the class doesn't stand on their desk for him. It's not everybody. There are still many kids going, I don't get it, I don't want it. And that's great. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It isn't the music's soaring. He's having a moment with those he touched, but he did get kicked out. And half the students are like, this dude's a nut. That's, it's not. Chris, my sister, has this beautiful song called Not for Everyone. It doesn't mean that you need to be perfect. You need to be 95%, even, as a stupid, alpha, tries to say in statistical terms. You don't have to be that to have a meaningful impact. Right? I mean,
right, because each of our places of vulnerability are different. So there's not, perfect doesn't look like this.
No.
If what your issue is over here in the circle.
Well, and also we're at different times of life where we're willing to hear different things or recognize those things. One thing that hits
Mm-hmm.
us at this age is like, that's the stupidest thing ever. 10 years later is like, that was the most meaningful thing ever. Right. So,
So when you were 19 and you saw this, you were
I
more
loved it.
even.
Yeah, I loved it. And this points back to my dad too. There are several films. Robin Williams is another dad person. He's always loved Robin Williams. And so, for me, when dad loved something, I wanted to love it because it was a pathway to him, right? Because our
Oh,
dad was
Robert.
so quiet and emotionally vacant, and he'd own that. That's not criticizing him. It's just how he was raised. So when there were emotional middle grounds for laughter, tears, excitement,
They were huge.
yeah, Chris and I would just, drink them up. Oh, wow, that's that.
Yeah, I bet.
So I
Yeah.
want more of that, right? And so Robin is an absolute conduit, a quick path to my dad, and
Wow.
therefore, finding more in him means finding more in Robin means finding more in my dad, and etc. So, and embodying things that Robin does well. Also, I can say this from a straight child perspective. I know it's not always the healthiest thing, but it's one way to gain more approval from my dad. When he sees those things he likes in things he likes, and I can mirror them. For example, my dad loved when I did stand-up comedy. He loved it. He was in awe of it. I'll never forget looking out here in my backyard. We did a couple concerts in our backyard where Chris and her partner would sing a song, and I was the MC, and I'd go up and I'd do stand-up beforehand. And I was, starting to do it down in LA, and it was very rough. But with dad afterward, I'd see him in the back, and he would say, "Man, that was really good. That was wow." I mean, he was just in awe of it, and that was who my dad was in all of those very formative 5.5 years of Los Angeles of, becoming a screenwriter, becoming a stand-up comic, becoming doing musical theater, doing improvisation, all really outside. I mean, that was just really outside for me, right? Some of which I kind of had some idea or feeling about, but never done stand-up at all, barely done improv, never done musical theater, for God's sake, never picked up a musical instrument or sang. And all of those things came to pass in those 5 years. Certainly never made a film. And that came to pass several times.
But you're saying those things, your dad didn't do those things, but he admired those things. And
More than admired. More, this is so important. More than admired. He inspired and supported.
that's
And
fascinating.
as I say in the movie, which we'll get to in the next clip, dad was there. It's not just dad was there for, the baseball stuff. Dad was there saying, this is not just cheering me on, but this is, I'll never forget when I turned screenplays. He would be one of the first. I'd call him when I'd be writing the end, because there was a time when I wrote about 3 to 4 screenplays a year, really part of my training process. Just
Wow.
keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. And I would call him as I was typing the end. And it was like kind of our little celebration that I would mention that. And then I'd send it to him. And every time he'd say, "This is the best thing you've written. This is the best one yet." Each one was getting better. And, he was behind it and, active and not just, cheering, but reading and asking me questions. And, he would tell me, I don't understand. He would say, I don't, I don't, he wouldn't just blindly like things. He
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
question. And he'd talk about his struggles with screenplays and say, it's a really weird form. I go, you're right. It is. It's a really weird form, but he learned how to read them and was, again, he spent time and he gave me his heart and his mind through those things and really kept saying, I mean, the words he said from my teenage years forward, was, follow your dreams, follow your passion, the Joseph Campbell line.
All your bliss.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know that he knew that was Joseph Campbell.
Sure. Yeah.
He just knew.
It's kind of beautiful that he was being himself, He,
Yeah.
he, he wasn't emulating Joseph Campbell. He wasn't saying something he admired. It was him.
Well, here's the thing that Joseph Campbell, I think, would be the first to say, and my dad would, I think, acknowledge or get to it, is that Joseph Campbell isn't himself a god, right? No, he's just somebody who took the humanity from thousands of years expressed through this form and said, here are the patterns, by the way, of our shared humanity. And the truth that is within that can be so psychologically transformative and powerful to contain us to go, oh, I'm part of this thing of thousands of years of repetitions and cycles.
It's so
I'm not
exciting.
alone. Go ahead. What?
It's so exciting when you're watching something or reading something and you see that pattern, and then the next part of the pattern. It's not that you can predict the end by any
Right.
means, but wow, to have that long-term,
Yeah.
thousands of years validation.
A queen of India, 2000 BC, felt the same thing I'm feeling now in my modern coming of age story, in Brooklyn, New York.
And the cave
That's it,
paintings,
right?
the cave paintings,
The cave painting
wow.
showed the same thing of me trying to pass this MCAT test, as it were. It's the hunt and the gather. It's the same thing, right? That's the shared humanity that once again, because in all of those places of stress and fear, when we feel we're alone, we've gone too far, we're stupid, not worth it, whatever we say about it, that's where our shared humanity says, you know what? Someone's been here before and they did exactly what you did. And here's how they handle it. Doesn't mean you have to handle it that way, but just know that you're not the first person going through that. He
Mhm.
talked about that with Bill Moyers, I remember, about the message in a bottle metaphor, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That getting that from some far off land. And it was like, oh,
Mhm.
this just washed up through this mythical ocean from
Uh-huh.
someone I will never meet
Mhm.
that reaffirms I'm not alone, right?
And says the message is universal.
Yeah, our experiences. And what it does is, I think when we talk about unlocking the psyche, it validates our emotions. It validates our fears and our joys and our passions and all of those things, all of which are still so poorly understood and so poorly supported. Generally speaking, we just continue to we can microcosmically look at it at Parkinson's, where now we're hopefully trying to scream from the rooftops, give our barbaric yelps about, this is not just a motor disorder, right? But again, that's just a microcosm of a larger story. How many places in the world are things dismissed or diminished and thought to be just something that can be measured or seen? We only are going to pay attention to it because that's what fits in the box. But all this other stuff is true.
Right.
And it's being, nope, if I can't
Nope.
measure it, it's not going to get funding. It's not going to get support. It's going to, in fact, be questioned if it's even real. And that's just infuriating to me.
The isolated, narrow definition, and people get up on their soapboxes and say it with authority, and
Oh, absolutely. And then they'll knuckle down and, it's XYZ, resource or this, that, and the other. It's like back to what we said earlier. Have you really listened to what the other person's saying? There are many experiences I don't understand, but I don't claim them not to be true.
yes,
Somebody's feeling that. That's their journey. I mean, outside of actually harming me with their belief system, I'm a huge fan of listening to. Now, if somebody's trying to harm me with what they're saying, we've got, there are parameters around this thing. I don't mean to say it's just everything goes, right? But for the most part, people are just trying to find a brave enough place to say that thing, that scary thing out loud so they can be the person they want to be, the person that somehow they're called to be, the truth of what they've been born into that they don't have control over. This is who I am. We can influence, but we can't completely change. I mean, transformation is, it's limited, right? I mean, I cannot become a bird. I can become avian like, I can admire, I can whatever if I feel that sort of thing. But if I literally go put on some birds and try to jump off a tree, well, that's Darwin telling me, you're not evolved. And maybe Newton too, laws of gravity as well as law of evolution, right? So there are limits, but anyway, fantastic discussion. I think we hinted toward what we talked earlier about Boys of Summer. So I'm going to stop this episode and bring us back because
yeah.
there is, you mentioned the foundational success story. Boys of Summer is that. We have a trailer for Third Base I'd like to play for
Will you
everybody.
show that? I was hoping you would
Yes.
do that. Yeah.
And we'll react to that. Thank you. We'll be back for the next dose in just a minute.